and our NGOs campaign to raise money for them. But if we're really going to save this planet, we've got to integrate conservation into the productive landscape, which means we have to link it to investment in that landscape.
Hello, Francis, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's get started. Traditionally, we think of conservation as something which governments pay for or which we fund through NGO campaigns. But why are you interested in investing in conservation?
Okay, investing in conservation is about moving conservation into the landscapes that are productive. The traditional approach we've had about conservation over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years has been to set up national parks. And national parks are not for profit, they're paid for by the government, and our NGOs campaign to raise money for them. But if we're really going to save this planet, we've got to integrate conservation into the productive landscape, which means we have to link it to investment in that landscape.
So moving on, so you say that if we want to encourage conservation in private lands, we need to make it profitable. How do we do that, though?
Well, it's very straightforward. To make conservation profitable, the act of conservation has to deliver economic returns. Now, it's a very interesting example out of Kenya, where last year the president of Kenya promoted the stopping of the trade in ivory by burning ivory. The message he sent to the people who own land in ivory is that that animal should be destroyed. There's no economic value to that animal. And in fact, the landowner in Kenya will say, why should I have elephants? I can't make any money out of them. I'd rather have cows or chickens or sheep or goats or pigs or anything but elephants. The president said, burn them. We'll burn them. So you need to make them pay, and that could be ecotourism, or let's take the country we're in here, Switzerland. Yes, there's a lot of ecotourism with cattle, but the main thing we get out of cows is milk and meat and hide. With conservation, we need to use our wild animals sustainably, just like we use our domestic animals.
Sticking to this topic, next month you have a conference coming up in Pretoria in South Africa. What kind of things are going to be going on there? Yes,
we're actually running a workshop on the wildlife economy, which is really interesting in Southern Africa. In Southern Africa, most of the rhinos, the lions are actually in private hands, and people make money out of those animals by ecotourism, by hunting, by meat, by a sale of bones, by selling the animals themselves. And so we're going to be bringing together academics from South Africa and the neighboring countries to say, can we get a better understanding of the economics of this industry of conserving the landscape through economic utilization of wildlife?
So to finish up, let's get some advice from you for investors who are going to invest in conservation. What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, the first thing one needs to do is to say, let's look at landscape management. Let's look at areas and see if they're under some type of conservation management. And if they are under some type of conservation management, can we invest in the land itself or invest in the businesses on the land that are associated with managing that land for conservation outcomes? And in that topic, we're working on something called verified conservation areas, where you could recognize that conservation is taking place and therefore place an investment in the businesses on that area and make an economic return that also delivers nature conservation.
Francis, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And thank you for watching. And if you like this video and would like to see more, be sure to stay with us here at Dukascopy TV.